guys, I hope you're doing well. Growing up, I read this book called, I'm probably gonna butcher the title, it was like Alexander and the No Good, Horrible, Very Bad Day. And he talks about just like how his life is just awful and he's gonna move somewhere else because he just thinks everything is completely horrible. Well, I had a day yesterday and somewhat the day before that it's just like, ugh, I just would rather forget that. As a parent, like some days I'm like, yeah, I'm rocking this, yeah, I'm doing a good job. And then there are other days when I'm like, oh no, did I just say that? Oh no, he's gonna repeat that. Oh no, oh no. And just, I can sometimes be an awful just human being and just very, very sinful. And yesterday was one of those days. Dan is usually the most sweet and very mellow guy and just like puts up with my craziness, puts up with my mistakes. But I think yesterday we just ended up pushing each other's buttons so much, or we were just so tired that we just ended up blowing up at each other. It just was not good, was not healthy for either of us, and wasn't good or healthy for our kids to see either. And there's been a lot of extra stressors with Thomas acting up a little bit more than usual, and I think that's because, you know, we're bringing 2 new people into the home. Really just not understanding a lot of how the foster care system works here in the Philippines. I haven't had experience in the States, but I've heard stories, and a lot in general, Philippine culture is people-oriented, and so they're very relaxed, which is fine, but they're also very relaxed with things that you would think is important. And so there've been some things that we were originally told, okay, yeah, you'll get this and we'll do this and we'll do that, and then it doesn't work out that way. And so just not being angry, just letting go and saying, okay, Lord, I know you've got this, you know, you have us here for a reason, you have us doing this for a reason, we are in your hands, and you're gonna take care of us. And so, but in the moment, I don't think straight. You know, I just get so riled up that I'm not thinking like I should, and then I end up saying things that I shouldn't. The Bible talks about not letting any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth. And yesterday I was not happy with myself. And yes, kids are a wonderful thing and a lovely thing, but my first commitment should be the Lord, and then the second commitment should be my husband and my marriage. And I think a lot of what Dan said yesterday was right. Like, we get these desires in our hearts sometimes, and sometimes we rush things. You know, sometimes we're like, oh, well, why isn't this happening? So I'm going to do this and this. And that's not always healthy. And he's put up with a lot. And yeah, I'm so grateful that he's by my side. I'm so grateful that he still wants to put up with me and still wants to walk through these things that are hard and difficult and muddy. But I was just reminded, like, we need the Lord, especially when we're welcoming children into our home that have hard backgrounds, you know, difficult stories, challenging things, like, and we don't even know the half of it. And then, so it's tough stuff. And so you can't sit there and think for 1 minute, we've got this, we're gonna do this completely by ourselves and it's gonna work out. Like, it's not realistic. especially when you're going from one child and you've had this one child for 3 years, over 3 years, and then you go to 3. And so, yeah, it's just, and there's some other things that have popped up, and it's a great reminder to look to the Lord. It's a great reminder to be in communication with your spouse. It's a great reminder to have that person that you can just cry to and pour out your heart to. My grandma Scales is that person for me. I got on the phone with her and I was like, the fridge broke, and like, we've had this issue and that issue, and I probably spent too much money on this one thing, and it's just like, and she lets me cry, and I can see on her face, like, her heart is breaking as my heart is breaking, and it just means a lot to know that I've got family that care that much. And so, I'm gonna cry again. Yeah, yesterday was just hard. And we're trying to learn to give Thomas more freedoms. He's almost 4. He's very adventurous, loves to be out and about and doing things, but he is still only almost 4, and so it's not like we can sit there and say, okay, yeah, go ride your bike and run up and down the street by yourself. And like, no, you can't do that. And so figuring out what structure he needs, figuring out what the girls need, remembering that Dan needs his space, I need my time. Like, there's so many times and so many situations where missionaries or pastors or people in ministry or just people in service, like, they give and they give and they give and they pour out and they pour out and they pour out, but they never really take the time to refill. And it's a great reminder that we need to refill. We need to constantly be taking the time to fill ourselves up, so that we can pour ourselves out in a healthy way. And so, yeah, yesterday was a hard one. Today's been a good day. Today was the last day of school before Christmas break, and so there was Christmas chapel and parties and food and games and crafts and all this stuff. And then a group of teachers, I went out to lunch with a group of teachers, and I got different gifts from students, and yeah, life, it's amazing how much God shows us grace, how much he shows us his love. Like, yesterday I was just not a nice person, and I was like, you know what, I need to be in the Word. I need to end today with Scripture, and with doing that, that definitely helped, and today has been a much better day. So I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you next time. God bless.